Okay, it's time for class. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ED and the members of the Electoral College. My name is Jessica Ochoge Daniel, and I will be your moderator for this weekend. And today, our facilitator is Mr. Samaila Poloma. I don't know if he's in the room already. But before I read his brief bio...
He's not yet. Jessica, good day. Good day, everyone. He's not yet in the room. Let me try and get to him. He's not yet in the room. But you can give them 5 minutes. But I'm not impressed with the timing everybody is having with the class. I'm also not impressed with those who have forgotten to change their names. These are simple rules that we've gone a few weeks down in class. I don't think we should be repeating such things. If anybody from the people here from admin in the college taking attendance, you take attendance at about 5:15. Anybody after that will be counted outside the class. I think this unruly behavior of what time is very, very disturbing. Okay, the facilitator is now in the class, so you can go ahead with normal schedule. Please note, Charlie, please note,
yes,
attendance should be taken. Attendance will be taken at 5:15. Anybody that is not in class at 5:15 has not attended this class. I don't think we should be begging for people to attend classes, or they don't know when classes are to be. Please adhere to all this. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, Edie. Our facilitator is on ground and we will dive into the class immediately. A brief bio on our facilitator. His name is Mr. Samaila Poloma. He is a law graduate of the Ahmadu Bello University, Nigeria. He worked in the Ministry of Justice, Gombe State, and resigned as the principal state counsel. And then he went into active politics, which he's still into till date. He's a proprietor of a reputable nursery and primary school in Gombe State, the Academy of Greenwoods International. He is also a former special assistant to the past governor of Gombe State, and he is the managing director of Boyard Fort Limited. He is a member of the board of the Electoral College Nigeria, of course, and he is not a stranger to us. He has taught many cohorts before now. And without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome our facilitator, Mr. Samaila Poloma. You're welcome, sir.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chairman.
My boss, good evening, sir.
Samaila has taught in cohorts. He's not a powerful man, and he's my Oga at the top. Also a very good friend. Samaila, pleasure to have you here. You know, I always welcome you personally.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sorry, guys, I seem to be having a problem with my camera. I don't know what's going on. So I'm sure nobody can see me right now. I don't know what the problem is.
Okay,
I hope that's
we can proceed, sir. No, okay. We can proceed, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone, once again, and happy weekend because it's a Friday. So today we are going to be having lecture on candidate declaration, like you all know, and I'm sure most of you already have the notes. So without further ado, I guess shoot. All right, so we'll start this with an introduction, which is basically just telling you what the candidate declaration is about. It says in politics, a declaration notifies the public of an intention to seek public office via an election. So that's basically self-explanatory. If you want to run for an office, how do you do it? You notify the people that you want to run for an office, which is the candidate declaration. That's your candidate declaration. Since an election is a formal group-making process by which a population chooses an individual to hold public office, it is crucial for an aspiring candidate to inform the electorate that he or she will be among the prospective candidates. This paper is primarily concerned with the process of initially reaching out to your general electorate it assumes that the process of deciding to seek elected office has been concluded. Obviously, what does that mean? That you have already thought about, okay, I want to run for so and so office, be it councillor, etc. Letters of intent have been distributed to necessary stakeholders, and that the prospective candidate has the ideological/moral or conviction to seek office which will be drawn upon and conveyed in the declaration itself and subsequent campaigning. So questions like, what office do I want to run for? Am I qualified? Why do I want to do this? How am I different, etc.? Am I ready for the challenges? These are decisions you make before you make a declaration. You don't make a declaration to run for an office and then start thinking of these things or start checking out whether your qualifications are up to speed for the office you're going to run for. These are all preliminary things you do before you make a declaration in itself, saying you are throwing your hat into a race for whatever office you're deciding to run for. So a declaration must be an introduction as well as a preview of who the intended candidate is, what his or her political views are, what he or she hopes to bring to the sought-out office, and how he or she will deliver on those goals. These statements must receive as wide an audience within the constituency as possible, and it must contain certain elements to be impactful. A declaration begins a political race in earnest and sets the tone for the rest of the campaign. A well-articulated, well-delivered, and well-viewed declaration is invaluable. So basically, all this is introducing you to what the candidate declaration is about and what the kind of things that should be in your declaration and processes and procedures that you're supposed to take before you make your final declaration. Because these are, if you make a declaration and you've not thought through on what you want to do, you might run into hitches or have problems when you make the declaration. So it's always paramount that you do these same things before you make an official declaration to run for whichever office you're going to run for. So now we're going into paper proper. What is declaration? The word in itself is self-explanatory, like it says here. It's a statement by an aspiring candidate by which he officially tells the world intention to contest for an elective office. Traditionally, it used to involve reading out prepared documents. In most advanced countries, well, this paper is kind of old, so I think that most advanced should be removed, because even in Nigeria, even though we're not really that advanced, but even in Nigeria now, we adopt some of these new medias to make declarations. E.g., you make a declaration through TV, radio, social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. We've seen a lot of candidates in the past, well, in the recent past, that have made declarations officially on Facebook. I remember there was a presidential candidate about a few years ago. Was it Rotimi something? I can't remember his full name. I think his declaration was, if I can remember vividly, was on YouTube and Facebook. So you see, those different media forums are being used now by candidates, depending on who your target audience is. Because you won't go and use YouTube to declare to run for councillor in maybe Ikorodu or etc. Do you understand? You have to always put at your back of your mind, when you're making a declaration, there's a target audience you're trying to reach, which is the electorate, who are eventually going to vote for you, maybe be it at the primaries or be it at the general election proper. So bear in mind that a declaration has multiple audiences. You have the general public, you have the prospective voters, you have the party delegates and stakeholders. Now, who are these people? Why did I divide this into this? The general public, you are making them know it's not everybody that probably is interested in voting or even at the age of voting, but addressing the general public, it creates a buzz and it makes your buzz run. Because when the general public is aware, even if the person is not of voting age, they are talking about you. Those that are probably were not available to hear a declaration will be interested to say, okay, who is this person? Why is there a buzz about the person? Why are they talking about him? Then the prospective voters, like I said, those are people that are eligible to vote. That is at the general election. Then we have the party delegates. Party delegates, these are the delegates. We all know we have different parties. I'm sure people have been thrown into different parties. I don't know how you do your own campaigning in this your own forum, but normally if you're running for any office, there's always at the party level, there are delegates that are going to vote you at the primaries. So these are people that also you are trying to target. And then we have stakeholders. These stakeholders might not necessarily even go and vote for you, but they're a power base that you need to reach out to if you want to succeed when you're running for office. Then we go to factors when making a declaration. Who makes a declaration? Any prospective candidate for any elective office. This could be within the national level. We have the president. And it says here, note, vice presidential candidates are chosen to run on the ticket of the president. They don't make declarations. They don't campaign. They don't officially do anything to run for that office. So they are excluded from making declarations to run for office. At the state level, we also have the governors, senators, House of Reps. Local government level, we have chairman, ward chairman, state House of Assembly members, councillors. These are people that make declarations at these different levels. Political parties also. This could be national, regional, state, or local. Ward positions for, give an example, Imo State Youth Leader. Anybody that is aware of recent, People's Democratic Party has been having congresses at the ward level, the state, the local government level, and then next week is going to be the state level. So you see all these people are people that vie for office, and they make an official declaration, seeking for, support to get into the offices they want to get into. Then at the professional association level, we also have that. We have pressure and pressure groups. For example, I give the Nigerian Medical Association of Farmers Union. If there's anybody that's a lawyer here, you will know that about a month ago, we all voted to usher in the new ESCO for president, vice president, etc. So, and all of them made declarations. They went to different states. They were bombarding us, text messages in your email, etc. Officially declaring that they're running for so and so offices, what they are bringing to the table, why they're running for the offices, and why they need your support. That's a declaration. These are people structures of people that can make a declaration to run for any office. So the position sought will dictate the audience, the medium, and even the venue of the declaration. If you remember earlier on at the introductory stage, I made a statement like, if you're running for a ward chairman, like in Ikorodu, you will not now start going on YouTube. How many people in Ikorodu are going to go on YouTube to go and listen to you making a declaration? They will prefer a situation whereby it's in a town hall meeting. Maybe there's a local hall or a local assembly gathering place where you make a declaration, etc. Now, if it's president, obviously, then you can use all these medias of social, Facebook, YouTube, etc., national TV, etc., etc. Why make a declaration? Politics is a numbers game. Elections are won based on the amount of votes secured by the candidate. The declaration seeks to bring the prospective voters to support your candidacy. So when you make a declaration, one, it gets you into the race, it gets you publicity to create awareness about your campaign and build a voter base. We have seen, even if any of you have been following, although, well, he's not, the moment, what's her name, the vice president of America going into the race, you can see how our voter base has increased. Once she officially accepted and declared that she was going to run for the office. So you see, once you make a declaration, it can increase your voter base, it creates a publicity for you and awareness, etc. These are the things it does. Because if you don't make a declaration, nobody's going to know you're running. Even if you go and officially buy the form and do to follow to run for office, if there is no official declaration by you, you're starting on the wrong foot, or it's going to set you back greatly. As a matter of fact, anybody that has been privy to has had access to local politicking, they will say, if you ask someone, this person is running, they'll be like, they don't know. Even if they know, they will tell you they don't know because officially, as far as they are concerned, there's no official declaration that has been made to them. So they will feign ignorance and say, we don't even know he's running because he hasn't told us anything. So these are the things the declaration does to you when you're running for office. The language and tone of declaration should convey your intentions, inspire the electorate, and contain convincing arguments. I always say this because when you're making a declaration, you should not come and tell us, oh, I'm going to take a swipe at a political party anyways. Pre-2015, or they will come and tell you, this party has stolen money, this party has done this, they will dance for 20 minutes. They've not told us anything. That is at their declaration rallies in states. All they were doing was bashing the opposition, but not giving us anything concrete to what they were going to do whatsoever. And now we can see the results of what's happening. What should I include in a declaration? Knowing your audience is key to writing a declaration. The demographics, social, economic, cultural, and religious dynamics must be carefully considered. An aspiring candidate must be able to connect with the electorate. What are the biggest challenges in the constituency? What can I do about them? As earlier stated, okay, before I go into that, so what is it saying? Knowing your audience. I always give an example. If you're running for local government chairman, let me give that as an example. You will not now be talking about problems that are happening in the state. Every local government has peculiar problems that affect them. You will now be talking about certain things. Maybe if in this local government, their problem is water. They don't have a problem with maybe drainage systems or roads. And then you start talking generally about different things. You should talk about what is particular to that area that you've declared to run for. If you are running for House of Assembly member or House of Reps, depending on how the category is, because I always give an example in my state. I'm from Gombe State. I am from a place called Tangaliwaja, precisely Balanga. Now, our federal constituency, we have 2 local governments, that's Biliri, Balanga. Now, if I'm making a declaration to run for the office of House of Representative member, I'm going to talk about the problems that are peculiar to Biliri, Balanga. I won't talk about problems that affect the whole senatorial district or the state. You should always have that in mind. Your target audience, who are you making this declaration for? You should be able to connect to them. You will not come and start speaking English. You try and localize your declaration depending on who your target audience is. So a declaration is a statement of intent. This must be a typed document. It contains, but is not limited to, the following: a brief autobiography of yourself. Who are you? When were you born? What are your educational qualifications? If you have any work qualifications, also you can add that, etc. It does help you boost, who you are, because by the time people are saying, okay, so and so person now is a political scientist, or he worked in maybe the Federal Ministry of Education or whatever, it does help. It shows that you have some experience, because experience does really count when running for political office. Then after your biography, you talk about the office sort. You have to clearly state what office you're running for. You can't just make a declaration and then nobody knows what office you're running for. You say, for example, I, Samaila Paloma, I am running for the office of Governor of Kobe State, etc. Then the reasons why the candidate is seeking the said office. Why are you deciding to throw your hat into the race? There must be reasons. What, maybe standing from afar, maybe living in the community or society, you've seen how certain things are being done, and you believe that things are not supposed to be done that way, and you can have more to bring to the table, or you can do better. So you must also add that in there to make them tell them this is the reasons, or the reason why you're running for so and so office. An appraisal of the past, current developments of the respective, I use constituency here, but it could be state, it could be running for president's office. You should ideally give not a lengthy one, but something short and straight to the concise and straight to the point. So and so, maybe like my state, Gombe, we were created in 1996. You say, okay, from 1996 till date, this is how far we've come. This is what has happened. And, since I'm running for governor of office, I believe that so and so things that have happened or keep happening aren't supposed to be happening. So I feel I can change these things. That's why I'm deciding to run for the office sort. Aspirations and goals. What are your targets? What are you planning to do? If you get this office, what would you change? etc. And then a solicitation of support in your declaration. Despite yes, you are telling them you should also ask for their support. It might come as okay, maybe not really necessary, but a lot of people do like it when they seem like you are tendering to them and like you're asking them to help you do something. They feel more empowered that way. And then the final thing, which I said here, but this is not exhaustive, I always say, is a commitment/promise. If I do get so and so office, I am committing to so and so, or I promise to do so and so if I get the office sought. Note that this declaration is intended for a wider audience. The language used should be motivational but simple, straightforward but memorable. Targeted statements for specific audiences within the broader constituency can be made in the course of the campaign. What is this explaining? Now, when you've made a declaration, you make a general declaration. Now, as most of you are aware, you don't just make one declaration and that's it. Like I gave you an example, I am from Biliri Balanga Federal Constituency, that's where I run for House of Representatives. We have 20 wards. Now, those 20 wards, you will visit those 20 wards and you will make a declaration in those 20 wards. Aside those 20 wards, after you've made those declarations in those places, there are other certain groups that you would meet to sit and tell them your intention to run for office. You have like the market women. You could have maybe if you have like an association of businessmen or intellectuals, etc. You have these different groups within the constituency. Now, if you're going to see market women and you're making your declaration, you won't come and start telling them that, telling them about statistics and ratio and whatnot. That's none of their business. What they want to know is that, okay, I was buying a bag of tomato for 20 naira before, and now it's now 40 naira. So what are you going to do that to go down to maybe 20 naira or at least less than 40 naira? So this is why it says statements, targeted statements for specific audiences. Now, if you go to the Okada men, you will not tell them about a basket of tomato. They want to know, okay, they are Okada men. What are the policies that you're going to put in place for them that will enhance their businesses? Maybe, okay, bad roads, etc. So you see, after making official declarations in different words, these targeted audiences, there are specific things you will say to them. If you go to the Muslim Ummah, there are certain things you will say to them. If you go to the Christian folk, there are certain things you say to them. So you must always have back at the back of your mind that targeted audiences, there are certain statements, you have to like, polish, change certain things. You're not changing your whole entire declaration, but you are trying to connect with these same people. So you must say things that, makes them feel like, okay, this is one of us that is declaring for so and so office. Then we go to what are the main challenges when running for office, when making a declaration, sorry. A declaration requires careful thought and meticulous execution, both when planning it and when delivering it. Some of the biggest challenges include committing your thought to paper, which can be very difficult. A lot of people, I'm sure you know that it's so easy to blab on. I know I have friends and I'm a lawyer, so it's easy to talk. But sometimes when you have to put your pen to paper, it can be quite difficult. So it's not always easy breezy. It's something that it takes a lot of serious concentration to do. Researching and isolating relevant information. We all know about recent, they are fact-checking people. You make statements and then the statements might be irrelevant or totally false or not totally false, but not accurate. So these are you have to research, you have to be sure of what you are putting down in your declaration so that you don't be caught or looked at as like maybe you are cooking up stories. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, like the presidential candidate of the Republican Party in America. He cooks up so many stories at his rallies. You'll be shocked. You'll be wondering, OMG, where's he coming from? So, and this is because he's not researching and isolating relevant information. He's just blabbing at the top of his head. Whatever blots he blots out, fine. So you should always put that into consideration. Proofreading and fact checking also. This is something you must do even after you put your thoughts to paper. You should proofread it. You should have a team that will proofread it for you and check certain things you're putting there so that you don't falter or make serious blunders when you're reading your text out at your official declaration. Production cost is quite difficult. That's why I told you in the beginning. When you're running for office, these are certain things you should think about. Funding. People always forget about funding. Funding is a very integral and important part when making a declaration, because you don't want to get to the point, okay, yes, you've bought your form, you started those things, now you want to make your official declaration. It costs money. You're going to put these things, you're going to print out text, you're going to visit different wards, local government, depending, states, etc., depending on what you're running for. So cost comes into play. So you must have thought about these things meticulously before you make your declaration. Distribution. I always used to give an example. I remember in 2019, if I'm correct, yes, 2019. Before Atiku ran in the last election, which was 2023, he made an official declaration at International Conference Center in Abuja. And during the official declaration, I realized that a lot of people did not have text. And the irony is, after the whole declaration was over and everything, you could see heaps of the official declaration, lying idly in corners. So distribution is very, very important, because a lot of times when you make an official declaration, all you are blabbing there, some people might not have full attention. They want to go back and sit down in their quiet time and peruse through your official declaration, line by line, item by item, totally digest it. So you should make sure that your text is properly distributed when you're making your declaration. Gathering an audience also, it's quite difficult. We all know most of the elections we are seeing in Nigeria is rented crowds. You see that when they're even talking to the crowds nowadays, they are totally uninterested because they are thinking about their 2K, their 5K that has brought them there. So it's never really easy to gather an audience when you're making a declaration. But you should always make sure that when you're making a declaration, you're thinking of days when people are less busy. Maybe like a weekend, when people are more laid back, okay, they are bored, okay, so they may decide, okay, let me go and listen to what he has to say. You won't want to do that on a Monday, on a weekday when people are working or, trying to make a living for themselves, strive to eat and all that. Delivery in front of a crowd. I can assure you that I've been there. Delivery is not easy. There are so many times you will just shut down. It's as in, and this is due to no fault of, it's just the crowd might be hostile, so they might be heckling you, or you might there might not even be anything wrong. You start delivering, and the moment maybe you look at someone's face, he has a frown, not necessarily even frowning at you. You will freeze. So these are things that you should put into consideration. And normally I always advise, before you make your official declaration, you should look at like a mock declaration with your friends, and where they should be real to you. They'll bash you if they think you're not doing right, because that is the only way you can get prepared properly, to go and make an official declaration in front of an audience. Especially when you're thinking of all these crowds, you're not going to, for example, now, I'm running for House of Representative member or governor of Gombe State. Now, I'm from Balanga, I'm from the southern part of Gombe State. Obviously, maybe when I go to these local governments to make my declaration, and you must visit all the wards, that's the norm. We have about how many, 1,000 something wards. Those wards, you must go to every ward to make an official declaration. Now, if I go to Balanga, obviously, the crowd there would be more relaxed because, okay, this one is one of us. Now, if you're going to a place like maybe there's a local government called Duku in the northern senatorial district of Gombe. Now, and they have a candidate running for that same office. You can be rest assured that you're going to face very, very, very hostile crowd. So you should be prepared for things like that. Security is very paramount when you're making a declaration. Like you already know, you are going to transgress the different wards, different local governments, depending on what office you're running for. And like I've told you, you're going to have opponents that are saying, doing the same thing. Now, if you're going to your opponent's ward or local government or state, you can be rest assured that the crowd might not be very friendly. So you should have security in place. We're not hoping for anything to go wrong, but a lot of times it does go wrong. So if you have security, it does mitigate a lot of things that will happen. So that's why security is very important. Transportation and logistics. We know you have to put that into consideration. You are going to be transgressing different places to make your official declaration. So these are things because transportation, you're not transporting yourself alone. You have your own group of people, you have your security, you have your cameraman, etc., and all these things. So these are things you should put into consideration that can be a challenge when you are making a declaration. Provision of motivation, such as monetary consideration and refreshments. Every time I say this, a lot of people think I'm saying you're bribing them. You're not bribing them. If someone has taken his precious time to come to listen to you officially declare for office, it's only ideal that, yes, a bottle of water, a snack, it's okay. That's not bribe. Sometimes, especially if you're going to places that there could be abject poverty, a grand or two for transportation there's nothing wrong. It's not bribery. It's just you're also showing appreciation to them that, okay, since they've come for this, you're actually honored that they could come and grace your declaration. So, this is a little token, to take you back home, etc. When I talked about in delivering in front of the crowd, I talked about negative reception. So you should always be prepared for that. It will happen. It will happen. So don't think it will not happen. These are things you should be prepared for. These are challenges that they are going to come your way. Whether you want, no matter how you try to sidestep it, it will come your way. So you should always be ready for that. It is important to keep in mind that regardless of how prepared you are, there will be challenges and encumbrances. So be prepared mentally and stay strong. Be guided by your convictions and ambition, because a lot of times when it gets tough, it's your conviction and your ambition that's going to fuel you. I can assure you that so many times that you just feel like, is this thing necessary at all? Maybe I should just drop out of this thing. It's not. But if you're really a motivated person and you know you have an ambition, yes, it might not be easy. I've run for office, I lost in the primaries, but that hasn't deterred me from continuing being active politically, because it's not easy. You're always going to face challenges. So you should always have that at the back of your mind and be prepared for these things. Now, here, where should I make a declaration? Depending on the office of which I've said, its respective constituency, declarations are made in national TV, state television, national TV. I know a lot of candidates, even if they're running for elections that are state-based, they like to go on national TV. Yes, maybe you have the money to do that, but ideally, I don't think that's necessary, because if you are running for a senator of a senatorial district, we have 3 senators in each state, apart from the FCT. Why would you be thinking of going to make an official declaration on NTA Abuja? Is of no consequence, because your target audience is just your senatorial district. So maybe if there's a local TV that maybe people watch there, you can use that. If there's a state television, yes, you can use those kind of channels. The national radio, you can use that if you're running for presidency, or depending on your pocket, really. If you feel maybe doing that would get you a wider audience and create more buzz, it's fine. But ideally, if you are running for local government chairman, I don't see why you should be going to national TV or national radio to go and make a declaration. You can use your local radio that that most of the populace there listen to. Town hall, social gatherings, etc. These are places you make a declaration. And social media, which I never earlier given an example of, that there was a presidential candidate who did that. So I said, note that some or all of these may be used, and that you may have to repeat your declaration countless times, which I've told you. If you're running for office of governor, you are going to visit everyone and make a declaration. It's cumbersome and tiring, but that's the norm. You must do it, or you should do it. If you're running for House of Reps, depending on federal constituency, how many wards are in those federal constituencies, you must visit each and every ward to make your declaration. If you're running for local government, chairman, depending on the local wards there. If you're running for State House of Assembly, which is normally like, for example, I'll give you an example of my state. Balanga local government, where I'm from, we have 10 local wards. We have 10 wards. Now, if you're running for State House of Assembly, you are running for 5 wards. We have what we call the Balanga North constituency, and we have Balanga South. In the Balanga North, you have 5 wards. In the Balanga South, you have 5 wards. So you see, if you're running for the State House of Assembly membership of Balanga North, which is my area, you will be going to the 5 wards. So you must visit these 5 wards, and you must make your official declaration at these 5 wards. And I said here, in declaration, the key thing is be consistent in everything you're doing. You should always be very consistent. That consistency is like it's a must. It's a must. Now, helpful tips when making a declaration. Try to choose a perfect day to make your declaration when activity is reduced, such as over weekends or during a public holiday, because that's when you're more likely to get the attention of people. Don't announce your campaign before your campaign budget and strategy is in place. I think there's a class that is going to take you, if you've not already had that class, that takes you on campaign budgets, etc. These are things you must put into consideration, itemized, before you make your official declaration. Test your theme and messages before you declare. The important issues which you wish to address, your action plan, your policies. That's why I tell you, you must have like your own mock declarations. You must have your team, and you don't want yes men, because yes men always cause a problem for people in politics. You want people that will be very, very, very true to you, even if they're going to hurt your feelings, because invariably you will come and thank those people. Select the most ideal location to announce, bearing your target audience in mind. Like I told you, if you're running for local government chairman of Ikorodu, then you go and say you want to have your declaration in race course. I mean, that's like weird, because it's Ikorodu, you should be making your declaration not in race course on the island. So you also have to put all those kind of things in mind. Be punctual, arrive and set up on time. Nigeria, we think politics is for people to serve you. You are actually there to serve. That's why you're declaring. You are declaring to come and serve. So you should make people understand that you are up to speed. You don't want to just breeze in there after an hour with your babandiga and with your fat stomach and strutting along like one prince. You should be there on time. Be punctual. Ideally, let people even come and meet you there. It's a sign of like seriousness, except maybe for certain circumstances, maybe delay, transportation, etc. But ideally, you should be punctual and on time. You shouldn't have people waiting for you there for ages. It's wrong. Have your own photographer, camera crew. You will need record, especially for traditional and social media use. Make sure you have some supporter present at moral boosters when you're making your declaration. That is very important, especially when you go to hostile places. If people are being you, and then you can also hear some people saying, I'll use a Hausa word, say kai, that's like, they are hailing you, giving you more morale. So you should always have those kind of people around you, your own band that, is giving you moral support, even if you're on hostile territory. It is very important to always inform the power base prior to your declaration and announcement, even though most will probably not attend. Who are these power base? Party leaders, major stakeholders, organizations. A lot of them will not come. You see these people that they call party leaders. If you go and make a declaration without them knowing, that's already a problem for you, because they will deal with you. They will most likely not even come for a declaration. As in, throughout the whole process of a declaration, you will not even see them. But before you make your official declaration, these are people that you must go and, notify, like basically get their blessing. It's a must. Unfortunately, that's how and it's not unfortunately, because anywhere in the world, there are party stakeholders and you must get their blessing. That's just how politics is. It's not like it's only peculiar to Nigeria. Even abroad and the rest, you see it. we can see the elections that's coming up in America, all the super PACs that donate. Well, you must get their blessing before they donate to you. That's the truth. So you must always put these people at the back of your mind. Their organizations, they're very powerful organizations, women organizations, men organizations, religious organizations, These are people that if they can a word or two from them in support of you will go a long way invariably in the course of your declaration and campaign proper. Focus on issues and not your prospective opponent's shortcomings, e.g. the incumbent. Like I told you, I said, which I said earlier on, pre-2015, all we saw was people dance on the stage, say PDP stole, PDP did this, PDP did that, PDP. I'm not saying PDP is saying that, they are saying, so I'm not saying that. So don't get me wrong, because maybe you might think there's a bias. PDP too, they're equally not and that great, really. But you go on stage, you've come to declare to that you are running for office of president. You've not told me what you're going to do. You've not said one word. All you've said is that the person that is in the office is a thief. The person that is in the office has ruined the country. So okay, yes, I agree. He has ruined the country. What are your plans? And we saw that happen in the elections. And then after they bashed the opponent, then the remaining 10 minutes is to put, maybe depending on where they went to Asiu, or if they come to the north, and then they will dance, and that's it. So yeah, you see, that's rubbish. And a lot of Nigerian politicians, because they are empty, they prefer these tactics when they want to go and make their declaration. Bash your opponent, or bash the incumbent, and then not talk about what you're going to do. And then when they get into office, people are complaining, but the person didn't tell you he was going to do anything. He only bashed his opponent and danced at his declaration, and that's what he did. So, you should always stick to issues and not think about your opponent. Think about, okay, I've come to run for so and so office. Yes, you can point out a little flaws here and then, the incumbent, what he has done wrong, but don't make it personal. And then talk about why you have decided to run. Some might disagree. Okay, like I said earlier, some might disagree, but I believe that when holding a town hall meeting, there should be some little motivation for those who attend such an occasion. Yes, it's ideal. That's the proper thing to do. You are not bribing anybody. That's not bribery. That you have given people a token or a snack or a bottle of water here or a drink. That's not bribery. That's showing appreciation. And whether we like it or not, by the time you do it in the first maybe local government ward, depending on whatever it is or state, I can assure you the next place you're going to, they'll be like, this guy is even a very, very considerate person. At least we even drink water, especially in these hard times. Can you imagine someone that is sitting in his house now? So you see, that alone, Mark, I won't drag more people to your declaration, because the man that is thinking, okay, might have a snack and a drink, he will come there. And from there, that's his plan, was maybe even the snack and the drink. But by the time you wow him with what you're talking about, he will even forget that that's what brought him there. You see, you've won a supporter. You've won a prospective voter that's going to support you. So these are things that you should always put into consideration when making a declaration. And then finally, a lot of aspiring aspirants have not realized, or in fact tend to ignore, the importance of a declaration. It is a very pivotal part of any successful campaign. There's a lot of planning that goes on before a declaration. Sometimes it takes years, yes. I know a lot of people that before they were running for office, their declaration document and text and things, they've been, scribbling down, trying to put it together, not just a few months to the election, years. And that's the truth. The most important thing is to end up with something that is well executed, to captivate those whose votes you seek to win. But it must stay true to who you are. When you're making, you should always put at the back of your mind that you are trying to win people. So you should do something that will impress people. And whether we like it or not, people are becoming more politically aware in the country. You won't just come there with some rubbish declaration and think, oh, I'll just use money to whitewash everything else. Yes, maybe for now it might seem like money is working, but slowly we're getting there. Money would, as a matter of fact, even last election, with money, a lot of people still lost. That's the truth. So you should always be prepared and have something, something of weight, something that people would be impressed with. Remember that the declaration is the instrument that launches your campaign. It is what those who you hope will vote for you will latch onto and use to access you and compare to the rival candidates. If your campaign is successful, it will also be used to rate your performance. In a re-election bid or any subsequent campaign, it cannot be overstated how important this is to get right. It is invaluable because this once you make a declaration, that is you have gone full head on into the battle. So if you are stepping in on the wrong foot, yes, there'll still be time to correct it eventually, but you want to go in with, on your ace. So basically, we've come to the conclusion of the text, and I hope people understand it. And if you have any questions, I'm open to answering some of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. This was an enlightening class, as usual. We appreciate you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for questions or comments, as the case may be. Remember to keep your comments respectful and well-informed. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we will give you the opportunity to ask. Okay, we have Isaac James. Isaac James, please go on. Isaac James, are you there? You can unmute and ask. Okay. Sam Sidin, let's go with you. Unmute and ask your question, please. Sam Sidin. Salako.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Poloma, for the enlightening section. And my question is not particularly a question, it's more of an enlightenment to everybody in this court. And I want to know, how can we deal with the negative impression that comes with one of the major challenges that we have with this new set of newbies when it comes to the political sphere about bribery? Because a lot of things can become a propaganda against any candidate in a situation where you just get to see somebody recording a situation where people are being appreciated, like you said, or being supported for coming out to your declaration. And that can be used as a propaganda against this prospective aspirant. Maybe at the later time of the campaign, say this guy is of no substance. What he's just trying to do is to bribe people. Because you actually mentioned the 1K and 2K, which is the usual price tag to selling our franchise. And in most cases, it's just aspirants appreciating people who came to their declaration. So how do you think we can mitigate this negative effects of propaganda as an aspiring candidate? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If I think I understand what you're saying. Now, you see, I don't think, even if anybody has a video of me during my declaration, or of my declaration, and they see them handing out soft drinks, a snack, or a token for transportation, and you want to use it as, say, that's bribery. It's laughable. Why am I saying this? At your declaration, that is not a voting point. At that point, you have not even, nobody's coming to vote. They're just coming to listen to you. So what are you bribing them for?
Yeah, I get it. That's why I'm saying people would always find a way. They would use it at a later time.
That you can say, okay, it's vote buying. This is just a token of appreciation for coming to my declaration. So I don't think there's anything wrong there. Even if your opponent has a video, it's to lap it off and brush it off, because there is no voting. There's no way that people are lining up to vote or cast a vote that you're now giving them money. This one's an appreciation to come to listen to you that you are deciding to run for so and so office or whatever office you are seeking to run for. I hope that's answers the question.
Thank you.
Okay, Isaac James, you can go on. Isaac James seems not to be ready. Okay.
I saw a question about someone asking at what point does a person become an honorable? Is it after joining a party? I just saw it flip up, but it's gone now.
Yes, sir.
Now, you see, Nigeria, I'm happy you asked this question. I've run for office, and some people will call me honorable, and I always tell them, don't call, I'm not an honorable, because I've not been elected into any office. But you know, Nigerians, we like titles. Nobody loves titles like Nigerians. Any small thing, he has become an honorable, he has become this. Honorable is that title is a term for if you're in the State House of Assembly or on the councillor or in local government chairman. But anybody aside these people is not supposed to use the word honorable. But Nigeria, everybody in politics is an honorable. Everybody. Even if the person is just maybe the treasurer of the issue is that everybody is honorable. Honorable is a title for elected officials. It's not just for anybody. But you know, Nigeria, we bastardize everything. So I actually, of recent people have stopped using it because I used to get upset. Because I'm like, how am I an honorable? What qualifies me? I ran for office doesn't mean I want office. So that tag is not just supposed to be used anyhow. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question in the chat. We can't undermine the rule. Sorry?
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, sir. Matthew Samuel says, we can't undermine the role of godfather in our politicking. In a situation where the governor has chosen his appointed, or is he anointed candidate, and he enrolled all the party structure, what can we... Okay, the stakeholders... where can the stakeholders, party leaders decline your invitation for declarations? Can we, the stakeholders... Okay, I seem not to be able to understand. Yeah.
Is he trying to ask if stakeholders can go against the wishes of the Godfather?
And decline the invitation for your declaration. Can they? I think that's the question.
Well, I've never seen where that has happened before, but I'm sure it does happen. But ideally, if there is an anointed candidate, the normal procedure is that they should listen to every prospective candidate that comes to declare. That's the normal procedure. Yes, but there are sometimes maybe if there is, there are sometimes maybe there are some candidates that are very feisty and cause a lot of problem. So they might tell the delegates and the party members, do not go and listen to this person. It happens. It does happen. But the normal procedure is that, and at the state of declaration, the normal procedure is that everybody should be listened to. Even if eventually, because even when the godfathers or the governors or whatever go choose their candidates, it's normally not before declaration. These things happen close to the primaries, a day or two. That's when you will now say, okay, they will call people and tell you, okay, please step down. We'll give you this, etc., etc. So normally, they should listen to every candidate, irrespective of their choices.
Okay, that's a very clear answer. Thank you, sir. Zachariah Dauda, you can unmute and ask a question.
All right. Thank you so much. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Samaila.
The name is difficult. Samaila.
Yes, Samaila. Yeah. Thank you so much. My question is this. So before joining the Electric College Nigeria, I actually attended a declaration town hall once, and I realized that the applicants did not. There was no space for questioning. there was no space for questioning. Everything was just him speaking, and other people, the NUC, the NUT chairman was there as well. He spoke on behalf of all the teachers. The community chairman was community association leader was there. He spoke on behalf of the community, and that was all. So, but in my head, I was like, everything that this man is saying is not realistic, but there was no question. So, like, how can we restructure that kind of thing such that you not be like, where is this guy coming from? That's the question. And perhaps you're not able to see, that kind of thing. So how can we do it so that our lives are safe, and we can still make some changes in all of these kind of things? Thank you.
Okay, well, you see, at a declaration, actually, it's the normal norm is not, it's not a question and answer session. That's the truth. The person is just coming to introduce himself to you and tell you why he has come there and what he's declaring for and what he's officially running for. So question and answer sessions, ideally, normally this should happen maybe in the course of the campaigning. There are times when they come to, they come and have town hall meetings, and those are the places where maybe questions can be thrown. But normally at the declaration, it's not open for a question and answer fora. It's not. This is a normal procedure though.
Okay. Thank you for that. Godwin Obi, you can unmute and ask a question.
All right, thank you so much, Charlie. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Poloma. I'm very, very interested in this your topic, and you've delivered a very interesting lecture. I'm particularly interested in the topic of today because this is about a discretionary practicality. If you want to actually run for any office, it has more to do with the discretion, because that's my belief, because there's no status quo to follow. Even though this is assumed, like you have outlined for us, this is a status quo that we are expected to follow. But of course, in other clients, it goes deeper than this. In some other clients, most of these things are not necessary, because if the party has an ideology, then they need to follow. They also have to be mindful of the political ideology of that party. So, my question is, at some point when you talk about why declaring for any position in the office, you talk about, okay, the ideal thing to talk about, like, have a cognizant knowledge of the peculiar problems that you want to come to the office to solve. Now, in Nigeria, as a case study, we have about 774 local governments, and then I want to declare for the position of a president. Of course, that is me ruling over 200 something million people. Do I also necessarily need to take every single information of the challenges that is affecting 774 local government into cognizance while drafting my speech, my declaration speech? So that's my question.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes. At the point where you talked about, are you supposed to take into cognizance of 74 local governments while drafting your speech? That was the question, right?
Peculiar problems in 774 local government of Nigeria. Since I'm indicating interest to be a president of the nation.
President, okay.
I'm supposed to take cognizance of the 774 local government peculiar challenges into my declaration speech, so that I can at least maybe attract the voters, or maybe win the voters to my interest or my ideology.
Okay. Yeah. Now, that's a nice question, and I'm going to answer it this way. When you're running for the office of presidency, you're going to go to 36 states, right? Now, when you go to these 36 states, remember I said for targeted audiences, there are specific statements. If you come to Gombe, our problem is erosion, generally. Yes, the major problems, every Nigerian, to tomorrow, the food, light, these are major problems. So you talk about that. But now when you come to Gombe, you can now add things like erosion, how to curb erosion. You go to Benue, for example. If you come to Gombe, you will not talk about, we're not saying farmers and herders don't have clashes, but it's not as predominant as in Benue. Now, when you go to Benue, you will go and talk about farmer herders, you talk about the general problems, and you talk about farmer herders, how you want to curb farmer herders clash in Benue State. Now, for example, you go to maybe the River State. After you've made your declaration and in the course of your conversation, what will be paramount to you is how to help stop the degradation of the society because of the pumping of oil and oil leakages. So every state you go to, obviously there are specific things. You cannot now start thinking, for example, now Kano has 44 local governments. Are you going to go to Kano and outline 44 local government problems? It's impossible. But there are predominant issues that are peculiar to each state that you must outline, really, if you are serious and really you are about service. So that's how that should be taken care of.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I hope that was clear. I'm going to ask Salako Mohammed. You can unmute and ask a question.
Muhammad Awal. Yeah, and thank you very much, Mr. Sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Somalia, for the wonderful lecture. So my question is once one wants to make a declaration, is it must somebody have to have that event stated on that declaration alone, or the person can just come out of the blue? Probably there's an event that is hosted and it's a big event. It's a big event containing a lot of people, and during the event, so and somebody has already planned that I'm going to make my declaration here without stating it in the initial plan of the event to the people who are on ground. Is it appropriate? That's what I want to know, sir.
There's no hard and fast. It's not legally stated that you must do this or must do that. If people have an arrangement, some people, yes, they might want to take people like by surprise and create more buzz. So there is no hard and fast rule. It doesn't mean that, okay, because you want to make your declaration, it must be exclusively this or exclusively that. No. It depends on how people want to plan it. So if yes, at a general event, maybe they are hosting the International Women's Day, and then you and the organizers have already have an understanding that after everybody has given their speeches, you'll be allowed maybe 30 minutes to come on stage and make your official declaration. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't think so.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's go with Ilori Makay Oluwatosin. You can ask your question. Makay, are you on this call?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening,
everyone. Yes, sir. Concerning the declaration lecture you just gave, I really appreciate what comes with it. That's my question is, I've found out that there are some candidates that normally have a kind of intention, like you said, against the media propaganda or be it anywhere propaganda. You have a media head while you are declaring. What is the role, the roles of the party leader and the party entirely? Does it really have an effect on your own personal declaration?
Okay, I've lost you. I can barely hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now,
Yeah, but it's kind of echoing though. Yes, I can.
So, can you hear me now, sir?
Hello? I can't hear you anymore.
Makay, can you type in the chats? Type your question because we can't hear you clearly.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Okay then. All right. We have a question from Matthew Samuel. We can't, okay, it's the same question. It's the same question he asked before.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure we have any new questions here. Okay, somebody made a comment. Thank you so much for the presentation. I quite understand the need for a wide consultation or discussion with the key stakeholders, such as traditional institutions and elders. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me mute this other person. Correct me if I'm wrong. After Atiku selected Obi as VP in 2018-2019, the elders from the Southeast expressed their grievances, one of which was that they were not consulted. Perhaps there were other underlying issues that were not obvious. It's just a comment he made. I don't know if you want to reply to that.
Well, I'm privy to that. I don't hide it. I'm a member of the People's Democratic Party, a loyal member at that. So that situation, a presidential candidate owes nobody any consultation to pick his vice presidential candidate. That's his business. He's the one that chooses who he thinks he can work with. But you know, in Nigeria, our politicking, there are too many egos. Most of the other candidates, like Senator Ekweremadu, that were upset, is because they weren't chosen. That's what it is. Simple. That consultation that he didn't consult me is because I wasn't chosen. If they were chosen, they won't. If it was any of them that was chosen, the other person too will make the same statement that I wasn't consulted.
Okay.
You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me I should come and consult you on who I think I can work with as my vice presidential candidate or deputy gubernatorial candidate. That's why those ones are selected by the candidates, not by anybody.
Okay.
If we can remember, Yaradua of blessed memory, at his official declaration, he was supposed to announce someone at that declaration at Eagle Square, but he turned it down because there was pressure for him to pick that candidate. But he had his own candidates that he wanted. And after he made his official declaration, he stood them down and said he will communicate to the party who his vice presidential candidate was going to be, which is an exclusive preserve. It's not that nobody, yes, you can, out of courtesy, tell the stakeholders whenever region, okay, this is the person I'm contemplating choosing. You know, what are the pros and cons on choosing such a person? But they have no right to decide who you choose as your vice presidential candidate. They don't.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So Mikhail has started his question. What are the roles of the party leaders in declaration of ambition? Can an individual do away with the instigated party propaganda? Or is it a must? A candidate needs to add propaganda to their declaration? Thank you, sir.
At the declaration level, propaganda is really not necessarily, I believe. Propaganda comes into play in the proper election itself. When the electioneering is hot, that's when propaganda comes into play. But at the stage of declaration, you are not the candidate. You are not the prospective candidate. You've not been declared the candidate. You are just throwing your hat into the race. You are seeking support of people to get into the race proper. For example, maybe at the party primaries level, you want to win the ticket. Now, if you win the ticket, that's when, yes, you can fire on all cylinders with your propaganda at that point. If you are the substantive candidate at the general elections, then your propaganda machine can come into play.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that, sir. Balogun, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. And I want to say a big thank you for the lecture. Here's my question. When candidates make their declaration to run for offices, when it now comes to party primaries, they decide to, like, I'm stepping down for this opponent, I'm stepping down for this opponent. Now, my question is, why is it that candidates, when it gets to the day of primaries, they decide to step down? A case study of the one of what's called APC presidential primaries. Because we so many candidates came out. They all of a sudden, you see them, I want to step down. So I became very worried. So I decided to ask her, what are the problems behind those stepping down and the likes like that? Thank you very much, sir.
You see, in election, despite the fact that everybody has made a declaration. Now I'm going to use the French elections that just happened, the General Assembly elections. You know, the far right, if any of you were studying what was going on in France, the far right were about to win the elections and sweep the elections, general elections in France. Now, the other smaller parties, the left wing, the centrist, and the rest, when they realized what was going on, it's horse trading. They decided that some of their, for example, some parties decided to step down so that the far right won't win. So I don't think there's that. If some person has made a declaration to run for an office, maybe by the time he's doing his mathematics, out of, for example, 100 delegates, he has realized that he only has maybe 10. And then maybe one of his other opponents that is amiable to has 40. And then someone that he doesn't like at all has another 40. So he can frustrate and say, okay, I will decide to step down for you so that we can beat this guy. If you get into office, you know, it's trading, horse trading, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not illegal. It's not, yes, you might frown at the way it's done in Nigeria because, okay, box change hands and all that, but it's a normal norm politically. You are weighing your strengths. You see that, okay, you can't beat a mutual enemy. And then you see that this other guy has more votes than you. So you decide to step down for him and say, okay, I give you my votes. When you get into office, make sure I will secure maybe a board member or a member of a parastatal or AG. It happens. There's nothing wrong in that. There's nothing wrong in it at all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Amma Ewong, you can ask your question.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, so my question is Mr. Samaila. My question is I know that there are situations where, for instance, if the leaders of the party, let me use the state as an example. If the leaders of the party have decided that in the state we have 3 senatorial districts, as we all know, and if the party leadership has decided that, okay, the governorship candidate should come from the Southern Senatorial District, for instance. Let me use my state as a case study. We have the Southern Senatorial District, we have the Central Senatorial District, and then we have the Northern Senatorial District. Now, if the leadership of the party have decided that the governorship should come from the Southern Senatorial District of the state, and then the deputy governor is zoned to the Northern Senatorial District of the state, and the leadership of the party at the Northern Senatorial District, there are a faction of some leaders of the party from the Northern Senatorial District who have someone in mind as their candidate for the deputy governorship. And then a situation where the governorship candidate decides that, okay, the deputy governorship candidate presented to me, I cannot work with that candidate, and I decide to work with the candidate of my choice, a deputy of my choice. And then it gets to a point where there is a problem in the polity where the caucus or the elders of the Northern Senatorial District are now aggrieved. They are now saying that, okay, because you did not pick the candidate presented to you from the leadership of the party at the Northern Senatorial District, and then they decide to withdraw their support for the governorship. So yes, how do we deal with that issue? That's number one question. And then the second question is, I know somebody typed a question, a situation where there is a candidate who doesn't have the support of the leadership of the party, and then decides to have his own, for instance, maybe a councillorship election. He was coming up to contest, and then the party said, no, step down for this person and he decided that, no, I want to step down because I have been in the party before this person, and it was supposed to be my turn to contest for this election. This person is just coming, and then you're now anointing this person to come and contest. And then he gets angry and decides to still go on and contest the election against the approval of the leadership of the party within maybe the ward or the local government, and decides to have his own, his own campaign, and then invites members of the party, leaders of the party, and they refuse to attend his campaign or his, his declaration. I mean, my question is, how do we deal with all of these issues? Because these are issues that we face every day. And the reason why we're here to learn, so that by the time we get into the field, we can, know how to tackle all of.
Okay. So, if you can hear me, I'll start with the first question, yeah? Now, like I said earlier on, after you've won your primaries and are declared the gubernatorial aspirant of any political party, it is your exclusive preserve to choose your deputy. You are the one that is going to work with the man for 8 years or 4 years, depending. Now, I know that yes, there are local agreements whereby maybe, and this is who we want. But you see now, where a situation where I am the one that is running and I don't want that person, and you get angry, at the end of the day, politics is all interest. The reason why those northern senatorial district guys have brought that guy is because obviously the largesse of office, if that guy gets in there, that their deputy gubernatorial candidate is the one that will protect their own interest. They are scared that probably this guy will protect their own interest. So normally in those kind of situations, it's for the gubernatorial aspirant. Politics is all about give and take. You've chosen, okay, they got all angry. You've chosen your own candidate. Is to call them and sit down. In Nigeria, it's not even anywhere in the world. It's just to call them and say, okay, I agree. Okay, we're all upset. Okay, what if we enter office? Maybe you move from this senatorial district. If I'm zoning commissioner of finance, I'm zoning commissioner of science and education, I'm zoning commissioner of environmental services. People will bring those candidates. That's what it's horse trading. It's horse trading, and there's nothing illegal in that. That's how politics is. For some people, for you to get their support, not everybody that's going to support you genuinely. Some people will support you to protect their own interest. Some people will support you because when you get into office, you must take care of their own machinery too. So it's just having a way of how to work around it. It's not anything, there's nothing wrong in that, really. There's nothing wrong in it. Now, to your second question. If a candidate, the first things first, the party is supreme, unfortunately, whether we like it or not. In an election, despite that you are the candidate of the party, aspirant of the party, what the law knows is PDP, APC, LP, etc. They don't know you as a person. So if a party says they are not supporting you, and you made a statement, the guy said he's stunned. How is he stunned? On what premises is he stunned? You understand? That is being a little bit too entitled in my own opinion for someone to say it's a stunned. Party is supreme. So in those kind of situations, unfortunately, I don't know how you're going to walk around it. Because if the party doesn't want you, except maybe you decamp to another party and go and run, and then maybe the general populace support you. But if a party is vehemently against you, your chances are very slim. That's just hard truth.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys.
Thank you for that, sir. We have one other person. I don't know if I should take them.
Okay, so this is the last question, and after that, it's a wrap.
Okay, then let me take Amma Ewong. Amma Ewong, you can ask a question.
I just asked my question. Let me lower my hand, please. Sorry.
Okay. Then it's Shamsuddin. Is this Shamsuddin?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm happy I got the last.
I think the Shamsuddin Salako already asked the question, Elian.
Yes, I'm so sorry. It's another question entirely, and it's not that stressful. I'm happy I have the last slot. Please, I want you to take us through the political grammar. I think it's one of the things I intend to learn in the Electoral College, because every sphere has their own grammar. From the topic we have today on the flyer, it says declaration, manifesto, and agenda. From my own understanding, I think manifesto is document that comes with your declaration, and I want you to take us through the meaning of manifesto and an agenda in the political sphere, and if they are the same.
Yeah,
I'd like you to clarify that. Thank you.
A manifesto and agenda. What's your manifesto? The definition of manifesto. It's what you plan to do. Your agenda. What are the things your declaration is inclusive of your manifesto and agenda. Your declaration is I'm running for so and so office. Then your manifesto and your agenda is these are the things I want to do. This is why I'm doing this, or this is why I'm going to do when I get into office. So it's all encouched in your declaration. Do you understand? Well, like when people make a manifesto they are saying, okay, I, Samaila Poloma, if I'm supported to run for so and so office, this is what I want to change. This is what I want to do. So it's all encouched in your declaration. If you understand, or if you understand what I just explained.
Yes, I get it. That's right. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for.
All right, people. It was fun having a chat with you guys today. Happy weekend and good luck in your cohort. And I hope you guys, when you graduate, will be proper ambassadors of the country, because we need more of you guys in the country right now.
Yep.
All right, then. Have a lovely weekend. I love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much. Okay. I don't know if there's any announcement from Mrs. Lisa or Chalia before we close the class.
Okay, not really. Thank you very much, Mr. Paloma, for that very interesting class. We really learned a lot, and coupled with the fact that our upcoming assignment, it's based on this. So I believe we've picked so much to aid our assignments. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of the college, we appreciate your time and presence this evening. Thank you very much, Ma, for the beautiful moderation. Yes, Ma.
Thank you so much, Ma.
We don't have announcement, but please, it's very important that the channel for communication is your team lead first, before your team lead can communicate any information to the head of literacy, that is Mrs. Lisa, before it gets to the ED. So please take note of that. You don't just have to call the ED or send any message just to the ED for anything irrelevant or any question. Please, your team leads first before the head of literacy. Then secondly, we noticed that some people are not on the general platform but are already in a party. So please, if you're not in the general platform, please reach out to me or your team lead so we can know how to fix you in back to the general platform. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you tomorrow for another class. Good night, everyone.
Good night.